Chats here at Smitheetv in downtown Toronto with Sandra Kasturi and Brett Savory, who are the co-founders, co-publishers at Chizine Publications. How did Chizine get started?
Well, I think I'm going to let Brett take this one because he's the one who originally started the online magazine.
All right.
I guess just about 15 years ago, I started an online magazine that was like dark fiction horror, because there wasn't a lot of that kind of stuff out there at the time, and so I sort of just started getting stories and poetry and columns and art and all that kind of stuff, and just kept going with it until I guess 2008, and then because I'd always wanted to expand it to a print venture instead of just only being online. So it's the same kind of stories as we had in the online magazine, but in a book form. So that's been going for almost 5 years now.
And you two are also a couple. How did you meet? Did you meet through some of the fan fiction, some of the events that you have to go to?
Yeah, sort of. I mean, we both did sort of the convention circuit, but we actually met because another writer friend of mine, Sandra Kasturi, actually had dated Brett briefly, but decided he wasn't for her. So she said, "I think you should date him." And so I said, "All right." And then he found out that I wrote, poetry and fiction as well, and he published a couple of my poems in the online magazine. And then he said, "Do you want to come on as poetry editor?" I think he was just trying to get in my pants, but it all did work out very well. And then in 2008, when we'd been running the magazine for a long time, and we'd gotten some awards, including the Bram Stoker Award. And
how did it feel to be recognized with that award?
We were in complete and total shock, and I also had the worst, most terrible case of the flu I've ever had in my life. I felt like I was near death, but I put on my feather boa and my black gloves, and I went to the awards ceremony. So I didn't actually believe that I'd heard it, and we had a really unintelligible acceptance speech because we didn't prepare anything at all. So that was actually quite fun. But yeah, in 2008 when we started the thing, I always like to tell the story because as I call it, how great business decisions are made. This is, bear in mind, 2008, the start of the recession, and Brett came to me and said, what do you think about doing Chizine in print as opposed to just the online magazine? And I said, F it, let's do it. And so that was literally how we decided to do that. And then we published just a couple of books in that first year, and then the next year we did another 5 more. And then in 2010 we had a full slate. We were doing like 12 books a year. And then this year we did 18 because we're crazy.
Wow.
Yeah.
And next year I'm sure it'll be about the same. So
we said we were going to cut down. But it just doesn't seem to be working. Then we get excited because
but we should have this out at the same time. We should do this and this, and then we're like, oh look, we have 18 again.
Yeah.
Oh.
And then we're tired.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
We don't sleep.
And recently Rust and Bone has come out, which you've been a part of. Tell me a bit about that experience.
Well, one of our authors, Craig Davidson, wrote this story collection called Rust and Bone, which came out from
a Penguin book, though.
Yeah, it came out from Penguin, and then I don't know what the film company is who picked it up, but anyway, Marion Cotillard was in it, and made in France, so it's this wonderful production. We actually got to go to the movie premiere and see it because Craig Davidson is one of our authors. He wrote Sarah Court for us, which is a wonderful collection. So if anybody wants to pick up the film rights to that, we're good with that. Because that's the one that came out from us. But it was amazing success for him, and he's such a wonderful guy and just a wonderful writer. So we couldn't have been more thrilled.
We're doing another one with him too. So.
Oh, perfect.
Yeah.
Great. And here I have 2 of your books. Let's start with this one, Monsterous Affections. Tell me a little bit about the cover of this book because it is so creepy.
Well, first of all, we should say that Eric Moore does all of our covers. He's amazing. Everybody who sees our covers just goes, this is one guy. So he does all of our work. And he actually came up with this cover for David Nichols' book for a story collection. And when I first saw it, I went, I don't know. But Brett really liked it.
I really liked it. And that's actually Eric. I didn't know, but that's the artist.
Oh.
But he's a really handsome guy, but he made himself look like that. He just went into like Photoshop, I guess, and just made it look, not like him at all.
He's not actually a mutant, but anyway, so we're like, all right, and everybody who sees it just kind of goes, eh. And he became the Sloan Man. It's from a story called The Sloan Men. The Sloan Man became kind of our mascot, and we call him Sloaney for short. We're very affectionate about him now.
He's on all the posters and.
Yeah. And but the creepy story about it was creepy for the people experiencing it. One of our other authors had bought this book and was reading it at the airport on the way back to England, and the security people came over and said, "Sir, could you please put that book away? There have been some complaints." And he said, "Who's complaining?" And the security people said, "Sir, everyone's complaining."
Oh no!
So small children.
He had to put it away. He had to put his.
Wow, it's just too scary.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, it was too, I guess, just like weird.
Yeah.
To make it like it's not like it's bloody and gory and stuff like where you go but it gets under your skin, I guess, and you're like, I don't know, there's something wrong, but I don't know exactly what is wrong. Yeah.
So I guess that's a really big compliment to you guys.
Yeah, that was really
well, to
cool.
Eric, who does our covers.
Eric, yeah.
But I think the thing about that cover is that what really typifies, I think, what we're about and what I personally, I guess, feel is wonderful about horror fiction, or horror fiction that I like, which is that it takes what is ordinary and then just changes it slightly so that it becomes strange and terrifying and sometimes wonderful. Not that, but sometimes amazing things. And I think some of the best fiction typifies that feeling.
And here we have another one of your books, The Inner City. Tell me a little bit about what makes this one super scary.
Well, this one isn't a scary collection, really. This is more on the literary end of things and more sort of fantastical writing. The author, Karen Hewler, lives in New York. She's actually a winner of the O. Henry Award, which is a pretty big literary prize. And this is her, I think this is her first story collection?
No, I think she's got one out. One or two out
We're
earlier.
lying. We don't know.
Yeah. She's got at least another couple of novels out, though, for sure.
But it was this actually came to us through our slush pile, because sometimes we approach authors for manuscripts and so on, and then or authors we know or their agents send stuff to us. But this is I was just reading through the slush pile and I read the first story that she'd sent us. She sent us like 3, and I just went, wow. And that's such a wonderful feeling when you find that just in random manuscripts that you're sent, that you find something amazing. And I immediately went to Brett and said, we have to do this.
Yeah. And in terms of the slush pile, I find that really interesting. How many manuscripts would you receive? And is it difficult to get through all of them? How do you tackle that?
We actually, when we opened up, we had such a deluge of them that after a while we just had to stop. We just had to close it down, and we've been closed for I think a year, and we're going to be closed for another year still, because we're just trying to get through everything that came in when we were open, right? So there's a lot of people who were like and just fired us with all kinds of things, and then we're like, okay, we got to close that down for a while, because if this keeps up, we'll just be snowed under forever. So yeah,
as it is, we actually have people who have been waiting 2 years to hear back, and it's because
no fair, but
I know it's hard, because that was exactly what we didn't want to do, because big publishers take so long because they get so much, and now I get that, and we even have slush readers.
Why.
We asked I think we had, other than me, 7 other people who were just reading through manuscripts. We don't read the whole thing, obviously. We get like a sampling of chapters and an outline and so on, but even then it's just an enormous amount of stuff to get through. And I think the difficult thing is that it's not so much that you get a lot of bad submissions, is that you get a lot of okay ones. And then that sort of mediocrity is there, and you think, well, this isn't bad, this is okay. And then you kind of forget, and you're like, oh, this maybe goes in the maybe pile, I don't know. And then you find something really amazing, like one of those books, and you go, oh, that's right. That's what it's like. And you're like, okay, all these others can go.
So when you know, you know.
Yeah.
Okay. And you also had a book come out in November.
Yeah.
What was that experience like, and how's it all going?
Good. It's my second poetry book. It's called Come Late to the Love of Birds, and it's out from Tightrope Books. And it was, again, the second book is always a very different experience from the first book. My first book, The Animal Bridegroom, actually also from Tightrope, that actually sold out, probably due to the fact that Neil Gaiman wrote the introduction for me, so he owed me a favor. Anyway, that went really well, but I felt like that was kind of like, here's all the stuff I've written, let's take some of it and put it together, whereas Come Late to the Love of Birds was much more planned, in that here's a very specific thing that I want to do, and things that I want to say, and more thematically linked. So it went well. So selling like hotcakes. Well, as much as poetry sells like hotcakes, because everyone hates poetry.
Cakes.
Poetry cakes. And you also do some book reviews for the Toronto Star, the Globe and Mail, different publications. What else do you guys have coming up in the near future? I know you're super busy.
Just the full slate of 2013 stuff that we are going to be putting out. The first of which is the Inner City. In terms of, I guess, like personally, I don't write as many book reviews as I used to, because stuff really ramped up, and it's the same reason I haven't written a whole lot of my own stuff, because I've got a couple of novels out and a short story collection and about 50 short stories, but I did all those before we really got this going. So I've been about halfway through my third novel for 2 or 3 years. So I'm hoping that I can get to a point though where, because now it's been like percolating in my head for as long as it has been. So now it's all in there. It's all there, like the ending's there, everything's there. I just have to get it out now. So I just need to be able to get enough off the publishing plate that I can get back to the writing stuff and hopefully get that.
Well, our interns help us, and
Yes.
like other people, we're so grateful, because we'd just be dead in the water without them. As it is, we're crying hysterically every night, kicking our feet on our beds, going, "There's no time to do anything."
Okay. Now, you were also on YTV. What was the transition like from actor to editor?
Well, I think the thing is, I've been doing some sort of theater performing for most of my life, and also writing and editing for most of my life. So it never really felt like a transition from one to the other. It was just I'm always probably going to do both of them in some way. I mean, we host a monthly reading series right now called the Chiaroscuro Reading Series. If you're in Toronto, it's second Wednesday of the month at the Augusta House. Come see us. And I host those. I've got another guy now, James Bambury, another writer, who'll be co-hosting with me. We'll trade off, so that's good. I don't have to do it all the time. That gets in my performance needs, I guess, as well.
Awesome. Okay, perfect.
Did you want to discuss the character?
Okay,
Oh,
yeah, okay, yeah.
Who did you play?
Yeah, and tell me a little bit about the character. And I know you had really crazy makeup and special effects. How long did you have to prep for each shoot?
Oh, well, it was really funny. My character was Madame Fibanovsky, who is psychic to the stars, as I always like to say. She was often wrong, but never uncertain. She was a very, very bad psychic, and so I was a recurring character on The Zone and on Crunch. And so she would show up and give predictions, but they were always weird and very, very wrong. Sometimes dream interpretations. Kids would sometimes send in emails, and we'd read them out, and she'd give bad advice and this sort of thing. It was really funny, but it was something like 2 hours of makeup for like 2 minutes of TV. So that was always fun. Fake eyelashes, giant turban with fruit on it. It was quite amusing. It was a lot of fun. The makeup woman, Carrie Vaughn, who was doing the makeup mostly for me there, she was always like, "Is Madame Fibanovsky coming in?" "Oh, great," because then she can have a lot of fun. And she had terrible taste in clothing. Madame Fibanovsky, not Carrie. Yeah, turbans, scarves, sort of like if you took a person and threw jewelry at them for a while, that's what she dressed like.
Okay.
Joan Collins makeup.
And where is the best place to find out more information on both of you, your work, your appearances at various conventions, online?
Just go to our website, which is chizinepub.com. That's CHIZINEPUB.com.
Great. Thank you so much. I'm happy we were able to connect, because we were supposed to connect at GenreCon, but it's nice to see you
Never found
here.
each other.
Yeah. And congratulations on everything, and best of luck with all of the books and all the great work that you guys are up to.
Thank you so much.
Thank you very much.
I'm Katie Uhlmann reporting for Katie Chats here at SMITHEE TV in downtown Toronto.